Success is a process. It won't happen in a day like technology. I know you can click in a day, you can text in a day, you can message in a day, you can take picture quick in a day, but this is not for success. It is a process that occurs over a long period of time.
Welcome to A Better Lifestyle. I am your host, Richard, and I will be with you throughout this journey. This show is here to empower individuals to do more in life professionally. You will find a variety of topics that will help you to be more productive and more successful. So join me and the professionals from different industries as we bring education and knowledge for more success. He has started his career in the educational field. He has won 2 awards of excellence for teaching science and physics. He is currently an educational consultant, an entrepreneur, and a physicist. So it is my pleasure to have today Patrick Mayard. So please, Patrick, tell the people more about yourself and the company that you founded, Lms Center.
Thank you very much, Richard, for having me today. I cannot quantify my gratitude, my utmost appreciation for this opportunity. To answer your question, I need to specify that LMS is an acronym that stands for Light of Mathematics and Science. We are pursuing a clear mission where the focal point is academic excellence. Now, there's multiple misconceptions about the word excellence, so I need to filter it. From a Latin perspective, excellence derived from the root word excellencia, which means surpass. Therefore, our mission is to help each student to surpass themselves in mathematics and science with continuous improvement. And this mission defines our services, which revolves around 3 main axes. Number 1, tutoring for all level, high school, college, and elementary. Second, we also offer summer courses for high school student and college student. And the third component is basically consultant services for organization or parent who might have questions relative to the ministry curriculum, evaluation, or the school system in general.
I was reading one of your posts one time, and it was saying that 51% of young people who have dropped out of school, the reason they did is because they didn't have people around them to build themselves in front of adversity. What do you have to say about that? And what do you think that we could do, everybody collectively, to help our young people stay in school?
Well, first of all, it's a good thing to know that you follow some of my educational quotes. Indeed, the source of that statement is Énergie Jeune, funded by the Ministry of Innovation and Research. 51% of students, when facing adversity, they drop out or they quit because they did not have someone in their life who motivated them or encouraged them. This is a sad reality. When you translate these stats in a classroom of 30 students, this is equivalent to 15 students. So it is indicative that motivation is a variable that cannot be dissociated from the equation of success. Now, what can we do collectively? I think part of the solution starts at home, basically with the parents. From a psychological standpoint, each child that has seen or heard something is susceptible or potentially can be influenced. This revealed us that the greatest influencers of a child will always be his parent from a psychological standpoint. Therefore, if parents value education at home, it has already an impact on the student. And in a concrete and tangible way, I mean, value education can be by studying how was your school day? Did you have any homework? Does your teacher have any platform that I can subscribe? Or when is the next parent-teacher interview that I would like to attend? Be engaged in the life of the student, of their child. This is a number one role by the parents. A second role can be assumed by the teachers in the classroom. Now, despite the heavy workload, a lot of teachers are doing a great work. I just would like to mention that sometimes teachers who are so focused on cover the curriculum because there's exam at the end of the year, that some teachers forget the practical approach to retain those students who are at risk, because the reality is that those students who are at risk to quit, they feel disconnected with their learning. They find education irrelevant. So if the teacher can put the emphasis on how the learning apply in their real life, it will have a tremendous impact. If a student realizes that the notion, the concept that he's learning in the electrical circuits, for instance, in the science course, can be also applied at home, because now the student will be better to manipulate basically electrical cables, because he understands the difference between the conductors and the insulators to avoid electrical problem. Maybe if a math teacher put the emphasis on how math problem apply to real life, well, the student will get the first job as a cashier. Balancing money, this is mathematics. And the higher principle is critical thinking, mathematical reasoning. And this is applicable to every sphere of life, starting by the personal life of the student. It is applicable. So the practical aspect that a teacher can do will definitely help. Now, how can the society and the government help collectively? I'll start by saying that I cannot neglect the progress over the past decades. The government provided numerous funds to the school board, to the school. As a result, there are a lot of extracurricular activity for the student in school to keep them. We have sports, we have music, we have dance program. So there's a lot of effort that has been implemented. Nevertheless, Richard, I will say one thing. A therapy against depression is incomplete if it is limited by only changing the external environment of the individual without a reconfiguration of the internal thinking. In parallel, if we only introduce extracurricular activity to a student who is at risk to drop out, then this strategy is incomplete if we do not change the internal reasoning of the student. Because the common denominator between a depressed individual and a student at risk to drop out is pessimist thinking. Therefore, a complete strategy will include human resources such as more access to a psychologist in the school. Now, I know that students have access to a guidance counselor. However, when I'm talking about a psychologist, I'm talking about a specialist who has the capacity to recalibrate the inner thinking of the student, the self-image, the inner image of the student. I'm talking about a mentor. Could be a university student who went through same thing that the student can relate in life, but overcame it and can say to the student, I went through it. This is what I can do. This is what you can do. Or we can talk also about a motivational speaker in the school. Motivational speaker, they have the capacity to transform, impact, influence by their word, by their message. They have the capacity to influence the student. So if more fun with the government was basically provided for such human resources, that would be extra help in addition to what have already implemented.
Okay, and on, I could say on the B side of that, you have students that are not, there are more street smarts than school smarts. So they have different intelligence. Some are more manual, some are more artistic. Some maybe be led in the sports. So how do you deal with students like that? And what do you think, how should parents deal with someone who has those genes inside of them, like they don't have the academic gene in them, like for schools, but they mostly have other giftings. So how do you think parents should deal with that?
Great observation. It is a two-part question, so I might start with the second part, which is fresh in mind. When a parent realizes that his child or her child is more inclined toward sport or music, my simple message or response to them is do not oppose them, but support, encourage them to pursue their passion, their dream, while conveying the message that education will be the complementary factor to make you the best version as a musician, the best version as an athlete, the smartest version to, for instance, answer journalist question or to play on the field, on the soccer field, the basketball court. Let me just give you a clear example that I can extract it from basketball. Richard, do you watch basketball, NBA, National Basketball Association, professional basketball? Do you watch it?
No, not now. Before, back in the days, yeah, but not anymore.
You're missing something. There's a lot of great things happening in NBA right now. But essentially, back in the day, I was playing basketball, but I'm still following it. So let's go direct to the point. The Los Angeles Lakers have acquired a guard named Russell Westbrook. And Russell Westbrook is a guard that basically do not have good reasoning skills. Therefore, his turnover or mistakes are very high. On the other hand, there's the son. Basically, they have a guard that is named Chris Paul. And Chris Paul basically has a reputation of being a very smart and educated and know how to play the basketball. Therefore, his turnover, his mistakes on the basketball court are basically low. And this is the point that I would like to make. Both of them are basketball players, but one of them is more complete because he can excel at another level due to great decision he is taking. And this is the role of education as a parent needs to realize. It is a complementary factor to the athlete, complementary factor to the musician. Albert Einstein will say that education is not the memorization of facts, of dates, but rather the training of the brain to think. You go as a child, as a parent, they go to school to train their brain to think. And that can translate basically in the court, in the soccer field, in the music. Now, let's go to the first part of your question that you asked. You indeed pinpoint that student has multiple intelligence and different learning style. That was a very good point. This fact, when a parent is aware of this theory of multiple intelligence published by Dr. Gardner in 1983, it becomes a paradigm shift, a completely shift for this parent because he will soon realize that the smart child now is no longer the one who can do well in math, physics, and chemistry, but the one that is also playing music, the one who is more artistically inclined, the one who can do dance because the capacity to control the movement of your body is also part of the intelligence. So it is a completely shift when we understand that theory, but we also know that students also have different learning style. A learning style is simply the best method by which a student learns. And according to the stats, 65% of the student population are visual. How can a teacher basically use this fact? How can we deal with that? Well, number one, in the classroom, I'm expecting to have a teacher that will use more visual component integrated in his teaching. That is video, diagram, because the student population, there's a great proportion that are visual. When we're talking about kinesthetic learners that have the capacity to touch, to manipulate, if it is in the math class, I'm expecting a math teacher to have basically three-dimension geometric figure, prism, cube, so that the student can understand, touch, concretely see the relation between area and volume. In the science class, I'm expecting a teacher to use student for demonstration because he wants to make sure that he reach those learners, those type of learners. And this is the point. A teacher decision in the classroom should not be teacher-centered, but student-centered. In other words, I decide to teach this way because of the student, of the type of learner that I have in my class. A teacher cannot just say, well, I am more comfortable to just teach on the board and that's it. No, he has to take into consideration the different type of learners and reach them by their learning style.
Okay. Some are called to be engineers, lawyers, accountants. Uh, what do you do with, or how should parents, what extra things that parents could do with a child that like they have the potential to succeed, but they have difficulties. So what can parents do at home? What extra things can parents do at home to help that child move forward?
If a student has difficulty, the first thing that a parent can do is a litmus test or determine the nature, the cause of the problem. Does my child has a learning difficulty or a learning disability? This is two different things. Once the roots or the cause is properly identified, then the parent can apply the effective strategy. Now, if the student has a learning difficulty, it simply means that because of the complexity of the notion, the concept, he has a difficult time. Therefore, the parent can simply try to make it the concept easier with a video, or second, use another method to trying to simplify the teaching or the approach, another method, or third, hire a tutor to work, someone who has knowledge, who can work one-on-one in private with the student at home. But if the student has a learning disability, which means that the problem originates from the brain, such as autism, dyslexia, ADHD, in that case, the parent needs to take the proper procedure to help that child. In the case of dyslexia, for instance, the student has difficulty to read because he can mix the letters. What can take 5 seconds to read a statement, for that dyslexic student, it can take very, very much more time. In other words, one method that the parent can use is a technology tool. There are technological tools that exist that will read the text for the child, and the child will just put the focus on listening and understanding to be able to answer the question. So the parents can use technological tool. The parent can also hire a specialist, orthopedagogue. They are professional in the field that has been trained specifically to address those type of student in special needs. Our tutor as well has been trained for student in special need, for instance, ADHD, high attention deficit. We do know that we train our tutors basically to their approach need to vary. For instance, when they give instruction to an ADHD student, make sure that they ask the student to repeat, because the attention span is so small that the student can lose information. Well, our tutors are also very trained for that. So the parents basically have, again, technological tool professional, or our tutors will be able to help the parent with those special needs students.
Let's go more in depth in the services that you offer at the LMS Center, the services that you offer home and in school. So I don't know which one you want to start, like the services in school. How does it work?
Yes, well, first of all, our main service is tutoring. That is, we have a set of professional tutor that basically work with the student at home. And I need to mention that our professional team, basically, they are all knowledgeable about the ministry, the curriculum of the ministry. Whenever they have to go home, we have basically a LMS application that each tutor has with their digital pictures. So whenever they meet the parent, it becomes much more easier. And in that process of working with the student at home, I can say that the fact that they are knowledgeable about the curriculum, it is our advantage over our competitors. Most of our competitors offer homework assistance, but us, we do more, especially number one, because administrators, we are a teacher. I've been in the teaching field for a long time. I know the school system, but second, our tutors are trained with the ministry curriculum during our training. So they can do more than homework assistant. They can go forward, cover some notion, concept that the teacher is about to teach, review the notion for the exam that will be in June or the mid-year. In brief, they will not be limited to homework. The third factor that is an advantage is that we have basically a set of exam. We shall understand that it's a fact that a final exam is not reflective of question in the book. Question in the book is just to lay the foundation for the student to start to grasp. But final exam, mid-year exam, they are made by teacher. There's multiple level of thinking, and those type of exam we have a set, especially because I've been in the education field for a long time. So our tutors are equipped with those and help the student to practice with them so they can be ready to face basically those exams. So this is a lot of specific advantage that we have. If I continue with our service, we also have summer courses. I like to precise summer courses. It can be for a student in high school that would like to have Math Secondary 4 Advanced SN as a preparation. It can be a chemistry, a summer course, or for those who are going into college who would like to have calculus or simply mechanics. This is a hard course. This is a challenging course basically for the student physics in college. So we offer them. And the other service, the third one that is gaining momentum, especially in the past 2 years, is basically the home schooling. During the pandemic, we had a lot of parents that were worried about the situation with the COVID to avoid contamination of their children. They asked one question, mainly, can my child be taught at home? The answer to that is yes. Under the Education Act, parents have the permission to basically teach their children at home. Now, the government legislation, there is a rigorous process to follow, and we are there to lead the parent in that process. That is, there is a form to complete, there is a learning project to complete to send to the ministry, there is midterm and end of the year reports to send basically to the ministry, and there's a portfolio. All this, we provide that service to the parents. We lead them through the entire step. And a lot of parents were very happy about their result. We have a lot of great testimony about that.
Okay. And what advice would you have for young people who are in school now, or adults that would like to go back to school? Like, what advice would you have to say to them while they're taking that step? And what advice do you have to concerning success, school success, or general success in general?
Well, first of all, I'd like to start by saying congratulations to them for having the courage to go back to school. It's never too late. Education has greater magnitude than the dimension of a diploma. It is key to open door, opportunity to work, and to build a successful future. Some of you might say, well, I am anxious, I'm worried, I had a bad experience with school. My response to you is forget about the past. This time is the good one for success. You might say, well, I always struggle with math, with science. My science is circuits. Forget about the past. This time is the good one for you. You might say, well, I blank out with tests. Forget about the past. This time is the good one for you. Understand that every student is qualified for school success when you understand that the mechanic of success. Just like a bicycle works with gears, and there's gears that are chained to allow the forward movement of the bicycle, school success works also with principles that allow a student to progress. Allow me to share 3 basic principles with you. Number 1, plan your success. No one become a nurse by chance. No one become an accountant, an engineer, a lawyer by chance. It has to be planned. Plan to go to college, plan to go to university. You gotta plan it. It won't happen by chance. Understand that your planning determines your action. Because you plan success, there will be a series of action that you will have to do. If you don't plan it, your time will go to friend, to party, to activity, to Snapchat, to Facebook. You gotta plan, and then there will be action that follow. Concrete action means you will give your homework on time. You gotta plan to see your teacher for extra help. You got to plan to review session for exam. Plan it at the beginning of the year. Don't wait the final end of the year exam to start to work on it. Principle number 2, mistakes are not stoppers, but instructors. Let me give you time to ingest and digest this principle. I said, mistakes are not stoppers. They are not there to tell you, I'm not capable, I cannot do it, I don't have the capacity. No, mistakes are not stoppers, but instructors. Listen to me. 7 mistakes of the past are 7 things you should not do for your upcoming success. 7 mistakes of the past: late, being distracted in school, late assignment, late homework, lack of study, lack of attention are 7 things you should not do for your upcoming success. 7 mistakes of the past. Do not study on time. Do not give homework time. These are things you should not do for your upcoming success. Once you learn the instruction, you can now deviate the trap of failure to move forward. Third principle: success is a process. It won't happen in a day like technology. I know you can cook in a day, you can text in a day, you can message in a day, you can take picture quick in a day, but this is not for success. It is a process that occurs over a long period of time, which means your success process begins day by day, week by week, month by month, quiz by quiz, assignment by assignment, test by test. And when you give your best in the process, each day of the process, the global result at June, at the end of the year, will be success. Understand something. When a student grabs his diploma, this is not where the true success occurs. The true success occurs at the beginning of the process when the student takes the good decision. I'm not going to go out with friends. I'm going to study. Day by day, you are taking good decision. Week by week, you have been on time for your homework, for your assignment. This was the true success. And the end of the year is just a manifestation of that success. As you apply these 3 basic principles, I'm very confident that this time will be the good one. I think there is greatness in you, potential. Actually, you are the next nurse, accounting professional. You are the next car mechanic, hairdresser, businessman, businesswoman that the society is waiting to get better. The society is waiting after you to improve for our world. I wish you best success.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Patrick, for this motivation. So I hope I hope everybody got something out of it. I know I got some. Although maybe I'm not planning to go back to school, but I felt the energy.
Yeah, the principles are universal. I'm a motivational speaker, so I know that the principle apply to school, to personal life, to business. So it will apply to at a certain degree and level. Yes.
Thanks. Thanks for the motivation, Patrick.
Great.
You had a book a few years ago on success. Just remind me probably the title. Why at that time? Why did you wrote that book? And what's the book all about?
Yes, the book title is The Mind and the Science of Success. And at the beginning of my career, I always had, different style where I integrated multiple tools to teach. And one of my tools was motivation. And each week I was giving to my student motivational quotes, motivational talk about success. And because I started my career as a science and math teacher, I was using some metaphor to basically introduce my motivational talk. And by every week, I was one of the teachers with, the highest result in science and math. And by, the mid-year, every student were asking me those thoughts. And this collection of motivational thought, I had them with me. And the idea came basically to write the book. And I launched the book. My former physics and robotics student basically wrote a few words, his experience, because he basically became a robotics champion. He was very, very shy. And at the end of the process, he became a robotics champion. So this is in brief the book. If I may just say one last thing about the book, it's called The Mind and the Science of Success, because from my standpoint, success is a science. Just like, physics and chemistry can be learned. And basically every student in physics or chemistry lab can do the procedure to have the result of the experiment. Success is the same thing. It is a science because there's a procedure that leads to those results. And every student, if they follow the procedures, they will eventually get successful results.
What's next for Patrick Mayard and the LMS Center?
Richard, you're taking me in your podcast by surprise. Normally, I'm a very discreet and reserved person. I don't speak too much about my plans, but because it's you, a great friend, I'm gonna open and share you a bit. For Lms Center for Patrick Mayard, there's a second officially book. I have a total of 7, but more light guide. And there was one book, my second official book on excellence. I've been blessed and humbled to basically won 2 awards of excellence. And I felt that it was time now to write a book to integrate the principle of excellence in that book. So I'm gradually working on it. It will eventually come maybe in the time frame of 1 year from now. So I'm working on it. From Lms Center, I need to say that it went very well. We are currently in Quebec. We have a division in Ontario. There's a teacher. She's running in Ontario with us. And we are planning to expand in Vancouver by 2022. Honestly, Richard, I need to mention that, being an entrepreneur, it's like a pregnancy phase. I'm saying that because, in the pregnancy, it starts with the fertilization of a zygote. Then it changes to another phase called the embryo. And then it expands to what we call the fetus. But when you're an entrepreneur, you're a visionary, you start with a simple fertilized idea in your mind. And as you work on the idea, it starts to expand. And it gets to to the next phase where it expands, and it gets to the next phase again where it expands. I only had, first of all, the goal of tutoring, but now we have tutor, we have a department of books, we have basically books, we have consulting services, we have summer courses, we have basically a foundation that we are running at the same time. So there's a lot of idea that are germinate and now start to expand on the outside. So Vancouver 2022 Lms Center will reach you soon.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Where can people find you, Patrick Mayard, and where can they find more information about the LMS Center?
Sure. The first resource that is accessible to everyone is the website, www.lmscenter.ca. When you reach that website, all the information of all the services will be available. Patrick Mayard, I also have a personal schedule where you can schedule consulting service with me. I help parents, I help professional. I'll be glad to share my expertise on education with you. So first resource is the website. And in the website, there is a consulting section where basically you can click and request a consulting service.
Okay. Thank you once again, Patrick, for being on the show. It was a pleasure to do this podcast with you. I hope everybody found some value in this episode. So on that note, thank you, Patrick, once again. And thank you, everyone, for watching. And we'll see you next time on my other podcast, Welcome to a Better Lifestyle. So see you.
Richard, my last word, thank you very much for this opportunity one more time. As a great visionary and entrepreneur, I wish you nothing but the best and that you can reach the different spheres, goals, and planning that you have for your podcast in 2022 and the years after. My best salutation to you.